There you go.
Well, good morning, Richland County. It is 9:31 on Thursday, April 16th. Richland County Board of Commissioners is now in session. I'm Commissioner Cliff Mears, joined by fellow Commissioners Vero and Beck. Senior Clerk Stacy Kroll, County Administrator Andrew Keller, and we have a few people in the audience here. We have Cal Christensen from HR, Josh Hicks from Maintenance, and Brad Maurer. One of pockets, I think.
Great, Christie.
Hey, Christie, I'm sorry. Sorry, Brad. Great.
Brad will thank you.
Online, we have Carl Hunnell. So the first thing on our agenda is to talk about a chiller for the courthouse.
Am I up?
The air.
Okay, well, I've got some bullet points here and I'm just gonna go through them to kind of give us like for instance, a scope overview. Doing is we're demoing the old chiller, okay, the chiller and the evaporator. Putting in a new 215 ton cooling unit. That's the nominal size of it. It is a dual feed. So by dual feed, you've got two arrays of compressors. Each has its own power feed. The controls operate independent of that. That way, if we ever have a compressor go down, we can just turn off half the unit, switch to the other half, and we can continue with 60% cooling for the building. That's a big plus. Daryl, that's one of the things we upgraded.
Right, I remember.
Okay. We've got the evaporator is a remote evaporator. It's inside, and we've got the chiller. It's an air-cooled chiller. It's on the rooftop. This involved mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structural. We got some structural work to do on the roof to set the unit. Bids will be received Thursday, May 14th at 10 o'clock. We're posting this at RB Blueprint County website and Builders Exchange. Our current estimated construction budget is $711,684. We have a pre-bid conference Thursday, April 30th at 10 here at the site. I do have in here in our past projects, I submit for plan approval as a reimbursement from the awarded contractor. We continue that. That way we can get that process quicker rather than waiting for the time period it takes for them to get involved. Currently, we show substantial completion at 224 calendar days of the date of commencement. Now, that puts us in a good time period because when we pull the old chiller off the roof, we're going to have a period where we don't have any cooling. Well, this puts us in the November range, and that's going to put us where we can do full economizer and draw the cool air from the outside into the building. So that was kind of a strategic move there. And then the long lead items, the chiller's the long lead item. It's roughly 22 weeks on this project. The rest of the items shouldn't be that bad. So that's what's kind of adding. But with wanting the cooler weather, it worked out okay. That's all I have.
22 weeks, does that mean it's custom made for us?
Uh,
It's not off the shelf, obviously.
No, it's not off the shelf. And anytime you do like a dual feed unit, they are kind of custom made. All manufacturers make it, but they do have to break it apart because it's unusual to have it, they don't have a 215 ton unit dual feed. So, yeah.
Okay, so it's two chillers.
No, it's a single chiller,
Chiller.
two electrical feeds.
Okay,
That way, if something happens to an array, one of the compressors in array, I can take that offline, service it while the other
the backup.
is right. But they don't act as a backup. They act as a full unit. And then if need be, I can carry 60% of the building with half the compressors. Okay, the controls will be operated so that we can take something offline and it can still function in the unit. Where if you had a single feed, you lose one compressor in the array, you shut the unit down until it gets fixed. You have no air conditioning.
Just the way it is right now.
Right, which is the
2% efficiency doesn't seem,
no 60. With half the array, if one goes down, I can carry 60% of the building
right?
with the other half.
And
Okay.
except for the hottest of days, Craig, I don't know that the occupants would even notice if one
Right.
side was down.
Right.
Okay,
We carry the 100% of the building But if we had to go offline, we're designed to carry 60% with a single array. So that's pretty good. And like Andrew said, unless it's really super hot, the tempered air, you're not going to notice the difference. So it's not 60% efficient.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
any other comments, questions?
No comments.
Motion to approve.
So I make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Mears, Commissioner Banks,
Yes,
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
thank you, Craig. We appreciate working with you.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay, same here.
Carl, you got any questions?
Yeah, just for giggle's sake, how old's the unit that's being replaced and how big is it?
I think it's comparable. It's 200 to 215 tons. And I don't know, I'm going to say it's 10, 12 years old. I don't really have that information. It's 12 years old. 12 years old.
What's the normal life expectancy of a unit like that?
Well, they range from 15 to 25.
Now, this one, I think, there was problems with last year because I remember a portable unit being brought in. Was that kind of the indication that there was something else needed to be done here?
That was actually before I got involved, but my understanding from hearing Josh and some of the comments is that when this unit went down, you lost all air conditioning and they did bring in a portable unit. I think it sat out back and they had the piping go up to the evaporator. And that's how they operated. But yeah, I guess that would be an indication. But here again, because it was a single array of compressors, when one compressor went down, in order to do maintenance, you had to take the whole unit offline.
Yeah, Craig, and that was two summers ago.
2 years ago.
We did have challenges with getting that unit serviced. And as Craig said, redundancy, I'm calling is probably the biggest, one of the biggest drivers of replacing the unit so that if one compressor goes down, you still have cooling.
That and getting a unit that can be serviced by a local contractor is huge
Yeah, the old one that's up there now, we have to go out of
for the country.
the country to get a service guy to come work on it. And that's a very big driver. And it is
Josh
out of
can't
the
get,
country,
Josh
right,
can't get up there and fix it himself? Sorry,
No.
Josh, I'm just kidding.
No,
I mean, he did have $600,000 in his budget for the chiller though, so does that mean Craig's working for free?
No,
A funny guy.
When you have the air conditioning go down during the dog days of summer, you don't want to have to explain to the public and to our elected officials that it's going to take a week to 2 weeks to get a service call in.
Imagine if your elevators went down.
Imagine if the elevators went down at the same time as the
they
chiller
were.
went down. Yes, they were. I'm just saying. That's all right. All right, that's what I had, guys. Thank you.
I got one last question, Chris. The pipes that are in the back that you can see out the window here, how does that relate to this? Are they still necessary? We're going to keep them here?
Well, that's not a part of the project. Taking out the old, the chiller and evaporator that are there as part of the project, get them out of here. They're really of no use to you. The pipes here, we left them in. That'd be up to you if we did want to remove them. I mean, I almost think unless there was a specific reason, I'd leave them in case something down the road, not with this
In case.
project, but you have access. But that's up to you. I mean, I didn't pay that much attention to how unsightly they are. I do see some pipes out there, but
Okay. All right. Thank you,
okay, thanks.
guys. Moving on to our next agenda items, can I have a motion to certify the record of proceedings for April 14th?
The note of correction on tape 0.0344. Where it says Adam plans to purchase 3,000 tons. You have a dollar sign for the 3,000. Not that that's a big deal, but just putting that out. Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Mears, Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Motion to approve requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Vero,
Yes.
Motion to approve weekly transfer and additional appropriation requests.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
And could I have a motion to accept the resignation of a Job and Family Services employee? Last day is going to be Friday or sooner based on management discretion. Have a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Mr. Vero.
Yes.
Are there any other issues to come before the board at this time? Hearing none, we'll go into recess until 10 o'clock when we'll have an executive session for Job and Family Services for the discipline of a public employee.
You know, he's-
It is 10 a.m. The Richland County Board of Commissioners is back in session. Joined by, well, Kelly was here already. We're joined by Lori Betson, our Director of Job and Family Services. I'd like to ask for a motion to go into executive session for the discipline of a public employee.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears?
Yes.
Dr. Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vero?
Yes.
It is 10:18. The Richland County Board of Commissioners is out of executive session. I'd like to have a motion for two actions, and the first one is to give a 1-day suspension to a Job and Family Services employee for the third violation of sick leave policy. And the second action is to separate a probationary employee for performance effective today. Can I have those motions?
Second.
Commissioner Mears, Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Pharaoh?
Yes.
Any other business to come before the board at this time? Hearing none, we'll go into recess until 10:30. We'll be joined by the Richland County Transit to talk about flip.
Okay.
And may I amend Tony?
It is 10:30 a.m. The Richland County Board of Commissioners is back in session. We're joined by Gene Taddy and Scott Hyman. We're going to talk about the Flex service. And at this time, Tony Vero had to leave us due to illness, but is Carl still on the line?
Yes.
Okay. Your show, Gene.
Thank you,
What's going on?
Mears. And Joe DeCascetti, my boss, is joining us, the Director of Regional Planning. Thank you, Jodica. And thank you, Cliff and Daryl, commissioners, for inviting us to share an update on this. You might have seen some coverage in the news already, Channel 5 or some of our local stations. And I thought I'd start, if you don't mind, with some things you probably haven't heard in the news. And seeing as how you are the appointing authority of the Transit Board, as well as generous supporters of the transit service, we wanted to make sure that you were in the know about what's coming and why and how. And I know that being fiscally conservative and wanting to keep or needing to keep a balanced budget at all times, you will probably be happy to know that this entire project is funded at 100% at the federal level. And so it is called the Mobility Access and Transportation and Security Grant. So you might have heard it called the MATI project over and over again. And now we've branded our service as RCT Flex, which we'll talk about shortly. But as noted, I would just like to talk about, it's 100% funded by the Federal Transit Administration, passed through the Center for Transportation Studies as a part of the University of Minnesota. And so we went through a competitive process to apply for phase 1 of the grant, which was the planning process, and then phase 2, which we're in now, which is the implementation. As you can see on the map there, it's pretty small, but we are one of 4 entities. There's one in Hawaii, Chicago, Maine as well. And they're all doing very different things. One of them is putting cars out there in what's called a basically like a ride share situation where you give a community member a car to take home with them and they pick people up. Another one's giving out free bus passes, and another one is adding a new information tool similar to what we have in our mobility management here in Richland County. So we're the only one who says the treatment for transportation insecurity is to give people a ride to work. And we know that in this community, as in many communities, lots of jobs aren't necessarily between our hours of 7 a.m. and you need to be home by 6 p.m. Our last bus leaves by then. So that is our treatment, if you will, or our solution to transportation insecurity and persistent challenges that people in the community, but also nationwide face. And why is the FTA investing money? This is research funds. So they're looking for replicable results, and they will be studying us. And we have significant research goals to include in this project. So here on your handout, you see the goals to expand opportunity, to assess how impactful more transit service is, not just for the riders, but also for the businesses. And also just to look at what can we say is replicable about these results. There's a very core team on the steering committee that is staff from the Regional Planning Commission, handling the grants and admin. Richland County Transit staff is handling the operational planning, the turn-by-turns, where the bus stops are going, at what hour and minute of the day are we going. North End Community Improvement Collaborative in phase 1, they were instrumental in the and now in phase 2, they're handling the required research that is working very closely with the university on studied academic research. You know that there's a pre-test and a post-test. So we're asking people what's their experience before the service starts and after the service starts. And then there's also a treatment group and a control group. And for our case, the treatment group are the people that have access to the service. So that is what NECIC is doing. With their help, we are achieving the research goal that was a requirement of this project. But we didn't just want to know what the people riding the service feel. We also felt it was important to know what do the businesses say? And are they finding they can turnover is less, or it's easier to get someone hired in, or their absenteeism rates are changing. And we've got several employers that are, I will call some out, Mansfield Engineer Components, Mylark, Taylor Metals and others, several staffing companies like Spherion, Surge Staffing, NECIC Staffing. They're actually surveying their people and saying, you know, how do you get to work? How do you, is RCT a factor in that? Are these routes a factor in that? And then we'll track these people at 3 and 6 months to see, are they still working and how does that go? And also meeting with business owners to discuss what has been their experience in the HR office. So in addition to these steering committee members, you see there's a number of community partners, agencies, human service agencies, educational institutions, community members who fit the profile of what we're trying to accomplish, elected officials, including Tony Vero, Jody Perry, and others, get regular updates and invited to our quarterly meetings. We understand that being a commission of 3, that when you have 2 of you in the room, it makes a certain requirement for sunshine. And so we thought we'd come to you and bring this presentation and catch you up. So that's a little bit about where we've been and some of the things you might not have heard about in the news. And we really encourage an employer along the route, which we're going to unveil here in a minute, or if there's an agency whose clients could benefit from this, we would love to hear from them and have them join our team so they can get updated on everything we have going on. I did include in your package a bit about that research I mentioned and a QR code. Flip it over and see that map on the other side. NECIC is more than hit 100% of their goal within the inner area, the pink area, people that have access to the service. But that outer area, the control group area, we are still recruiting participants and they do get paid $50 for their time to come in for about an hour. May be invited back for other opportunities to participate in research as well. So I just want to pause for a moment before I finish with a flourish about the service itself. If you have any questions about how we got to where we are, who we're working with, what's this deal on the research we're trying to conduct or we are conducting, do you have any questions about anything so far?
I'm interested in how we were selected. It's from Hawaii to Maine,
Awesome.
middle of that, and
I love that you asked that question. So, and I have to go back a step to say it was during the 10-year planning, the process of planning for our 10-year strategic plan. We call it a transit development plan, but anyway, we'll call it the plan. Our 10-year plan identified that we would love to do a better job at addressing workforce transportation, especially shift hours, early and late. And so after that plan was completed, I got contact from one of the planners that helped put that together. And she noted this Maddie grant opportunity. And like any grant opportunity, we decided, are we a good fit for this? Do we have the partnerships? They required a partnership between a transit agency and a community-based organization where more than half of the board was of low to moderate income or representing low to moderate income, which NECIC perfectly fit that bill. So we needed that. And then you needed a good pitch and I think it really helped. In fact, they called us, you're the ones with all the businesses. That's how they refer to us, because we did bring in employers into this conversation at a very early stage. We looked all over Richland County of where we should put the service and for the amount of funding that we have for where the people are that need the service. We came up with this map on the back of our need a ride to early late ride. So it was an application process, very competitive nationwide application process. 8 communities were chosen to develop a plan. And then those 8 communities got to apply for the second phase of implementation funding. And then we were selected for that as well. They've been very satisfied with our progress on the things they've asked us to do. So we were very pleased and consider ourselves extremely fortunate to be able to offer basically almost $500,000 of service to the community for a year with no local put on the cost of that. So
I think what Jean is failing to tell you and be very humble here is it took hours and hours of work on her
I was
end.
gonna say, it had to take an awful lot of preparation to apply for the grant even.
yes,
You had to show your credentials to be eligible. So that's,
It was two-phase, and Gene, to Jodo's point, Gene will never tell you that. So it was Gene and then the team, both that she leads in the office through regional planning, but also the transit center. Were very, very much involved through the entire process, both phase one of getting the initial grant, which dwindled down to 8 nationwide. And then so it was the execution and expertise that they all had that allowed for us to be selected for phase two, which is what we're presenting today. So phase one is kind of gone under the radar because it was mostly more in academia and hypothetical, and you're just basically pitching, hey, if we were to win this, what would we do? And what impact would that make? And Gene and our stakeholders in our community made a very, very compelling case as to why Richland County deserved that, and rightfully so. University of Minnesota selected us to participate.
and darn it, oh yeah, there it is. It's been a crazy morning. So you see, with that application for phase two, all of the community partners that support, including Job and Family Services and, by all means, job, the workforce board, the chamber, businesses, as well as, various officials, the city and others, were very, I think that helps as well. So it was the planning phase one was a lot of partners, but not a lot of public activity. We're out surveying. So that brings us then, any other questions about how did we get here so far?
The 1-year pilot. See, the 2-hour loop, so that every 2 hours it'll be.
It's 2 loops and they'll be going at the same time and they'll each circulate every hour during those certain times. So here's a map as you
Yeah, I've got it.
go. And you can see some of the businesses, there's many more, but these were some businesses that are either primarily well-known, but also have shifts. And so the north and south route, the top half of that is identical to our airport run, which is usually only ran 2 hours a day, an hour in the morning and an hour around the 3 o'clock hour. So we'll be ramping up that and then extending it for our very early shifts and late shifts. It will run down and go down South Main. That's Woodville, going off to the right and taking off of Plainview, and there's tons of apartment buildings down off of there. More apartments on Cook Road there, going past, there's a Dollar General and a Family Dollar on the southern side of that route, the green route, which we're calling Route 17. We're just named it last week. And then the orange ones, east and west. We were able, when we planned it in phase one, we didn't have Ohio Health on there. We were very happy to be able to add it because there was enough minutes in the hour when we ran that bus on the road. Expected it to make some stops and do a wheelchair pickup here and there. Found we had enough time to flip down off of Avenue, actually is coming off of basically circle Ohio Health and those neighborhoods around there, come up Klein where the new facility as well.
Tell
Beautiful.
me how the deviated routes work.
Thanks for asking that too. So that gray area around the map lines is a 1/4 mile buffer. And anyone who would like to get picked up within that 1/4 mile can ask for us to come to their home, or it could be their workplace. I don't want to walk a 1/4 mile to the bus. And then it's a $2 extra fare on top of the regular fare. come and do that, and then we'll turn around and go back where we left off on the route and keep circulating the rest of the route. We can only have enough minutes in the hour to do that, maybe roughly twice an hour. We'll practice and see if that's 3 or just 2, but it won't be every single, it's available capacity permitting on that. So that's an awesome question, Daryl.
And everybody that does that then will pay a $2 premium
Right.
for the
So
day or
Right.
each trip. So $4 if it's one coming.
and coming back and want that premium. Otherwise, another option that RCT is known as a flag stop system. So even though you see our bus stops around town, you do not have to physically walk to a bus stop to get picked up. So if you, let's say, Avenue by the Kroger and you see, well, gosh, down a block and a half is an RTC sign, you don't have to go a block and a half. You just need to be on the right side of the road. When the bus comes by, wave at the driver and they will pull over anywhere. So that's another attempt to try to make it as convenient as possible and avoid extra walking or waiting if you can.
Noticed that along Park Avenue. Just a woman walked out of her house, got on her step. And I went and picked her up, coming back, stopping to pick her up.
Yes. And we have technology and the new routes will be put on our technology so that riders can pick up their smartphone, or if they were in their house and they want to do it on their laptop, they can take a look and say, oh, that bus is about to come. It's coming up Park Avenue right now. Or it'll say it's on time today and this run, or it's 2 minutes late, or whatever it might be. We try to never be early, so that goes up for their route on time. We never want to have already left. So try to be as perfectly on time as we can, or within a minute or two. And that technology will track the buses. So yes, you've already really asked some great questions that have run through my talking points. 2 routes. If you see on the next page, when do the routes run? The time schedules are just now going to the printer to go to a bus schedule. We will have one schedule with our day routes and our night routes. Our operations team felt it was very important that we not confuse our riders and make it really clear and all in one place. So this is being added to our bus schedule. So that orange route is called Route 18. And you see things like the Diamond Street, McPherson, going east and west, etc. That one's going to run 4:30 for an hour for 3 runs in the morning. And then in the evening, we'll run 6:15 till a little bit after 11. These were times that were chosen to match up with employer shift times. So for example, you'll see a gap when we get down to Route 17, which also matches with 15, because some of those, everything, the Maine and Longview, Harrington and Maine, Harrington and Paragon, all of those are the same stops. It's half of Route 17 is Route 15. And believe me, our riders, they know this, they'll know this better than I do in a week, because they're very, very good at internalizing when they need to
And
touch
15
the.
and 17 of the green.
Yes, exactly, the green one. And you might say, well, why does the green one not run between 4:25 and 7:45? Is because there was no shift changes up there at that time. And so we felt it was better served with that coverage in the midday when we're trying to get people to second shift and first shift. So we're out there. We had an open house yesterday. We are going to have a stakeholder invite, and I cordially invite all of the commissioners, if you would like to sample one or both of these routes. They take an hour. So, if you want to do one, you grab an hour of your time. We're meeting on Tuesday, and if you're interested, I'd just be happy to send you the invite, and then you can decide from there if you're able to join us. So all of the stakeholders in the media have been invited at 11:15 on Tuesday. They're going to run the green route, the 17, and that at 12:30 they'll run 18, which is the orange route. So if you would like to preview and see where they run,
Is that the 21st?
it is, yes. Tuesday, the 21st. So if you're interested, I would be happy to send something to your email and then you could let me know at a later time.
Interested, the commissioners meet at 9:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yes.
So if our meeting,
We do have the 12:30 run of the Orange Route, if that would be at all convenient for you.
I'm jotting that down now.
Mhm.
I know you probably mentioned this already, but it begins May 4th.
Right?
And this pilot funding is at around $500,000 of grant funding.
It is for this, for the, there, it's more when you add in the research. It's over $720,000 of federal funds. to our community, paying our staff, NECIC, paying community stipends, paying our drivers, et cetera. So, that was,
Till what date under this pilot?
well, we're looking at about 12 months, so I would see that wrapping up. We don't have a final end date, but April 30th sounds quite reasonable. We will also, of course, we're not just wanting to run it to a cliff, so that ends a great question. No pun intended, Cliff. Not that, cliffs are good things sometimes, right?
Hope so.
The fiscal cliff is not a good thing, right? So what we're doing, and part of our method to our madness of doing something the university didn't insist we do, and that is go see what kind of impact it has on businesses, to see what kind of local support we can get in. Also building support among our ODOT stakeholders and our FTA stakeholders, because they're looking at this as what is replicable? What should we fund or set policies around in the future? You know, my case is somebody's got to fund transportation to work. Because even I thought Ohio Means Jobs and the unemployment office has money to pay people to help get to work. No, they come to us to try to get bus passes and things, which we help them get through a third-party nonprofit, Goodwill. So there really is no dedicated source of funding at the state, local, or federal level that is directed towards workforce transportation specifically. Now, obviously, lots of transit buses ride people to work every day, and we are expected to be part of that solution. But I think that's an awesome question, is what happens at the end. We look for additional support from federal, state, and local partners. And then we also see, wow, you know, maybe 11 o'clock isn't feasible, but maybe that 7 p.m. hour, we had way more demand there than we realized. It's possible that we'll be able to pull in some additional service as we restructure our routes to fit our budget in the coming years.
I think it's important to note that we've got 12 months worth of data that we'll be able to analyze to see what is the true impact of this, both on our citizens, that are our riders that are taking advantage of it, but also because of the partnerships that Gina and the team have formed with them, that we'll be able to figure out what the impact is on. So I don't know how clearly, and when time will tell, how much we can say is a true cause and effect, but there'll definitely be some correlation that, you know, based on this 12-month period and this ridership, that, you know, the economic impact for those businesses and their staffing levels versus, and as well as our ridership through those two. So our plan as RTC board is to continuously monitor the data to see, kind of let that point us to see where we should be investing our dollars and seeking additional dollars on, you know, the merits of this.
You need to be a rider to complete the survey.
No. What it does require, though, is someone that doesn't have access to good transportation. So it'll be a couple of screening questions. Are you working or looking for work? Do you have, I think, do you not have access to a reliable car or something like that? Is a question. So we're especially looking for folks that would fit the picture of what does transportation and security look like.
If I could just to touch back on the routes real quick. We talked a lot about the business and the strategic businesses that we put in place. Having been kind of on the sidelines watching the drivers actually go through the routes and that too, there was a lot of intentionality that was also put into high population dense areas to make sure that we're hitting those so that they fall within those bus routes, to make sure that the route encompasses, you know, high housing, high apartment of that too, to try to maximize the amount of people that have easy access to it. So it wasn't just about getting the businesses. It was a nice kind of dynamic there to see like, all right, we want to get as many businesses as we can while also having these routes go through the most population dense areas that make sense on the route that fit within the schedule.
Oh, so the riders.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And so I don't know, Kat and Gina, you could probably speak. on it.
I do have a few
Countless
stats on
times
that.
The drivers went through and tested these routes and
right.
manipulated and did some of those things.
And they, from personal experience, one of the riders does the airport run and he's like, I know who walks to get to my bus in the morning at 6 and how far she walks from, and I know where I pick him up and this and that. So we definitely got input from that. And then there's heat maps of where are the places that don't have, it's called zero vehicle households in census terms, and
What's it
then
called?
zero vehicle households, or sometimes one vehicle households, meaning I've got a lot of people and we're all sharing one car and it may or may not be in good shape. But we know that within a half a mile of these two routes, there are 16,800 jobs, 31,800 people living within a half a mile. And of those 31,800, well, of those residences, 11% of the households have no car. 11% of the households have no car. And then again, that's not counting folks that have one car or an unreliable vehicle, et cetera, that like the fella on the Channel 5 News. Google WEWS and Richland County Transit to see that. I didn't pay him. They've just picked him up, one of our random riders, and he talked about having to walk 2 miles to get to the bus. He talked about, and it turns out he lives on the green route and he works on the orange route, and he sometimes works till 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, we can help you with that. So very excited about opportunities. And you know who's most excited of all is the temp agencies. They're like, what? You mean I can't just forward, I don't have to just push those people on the first shift jobs that they maybe don't prefer, and that they maybe don't have as much opportunity, because lots of places, they don't hire first shift. They hire you in because they need somebody on second shift. And maybe you get to bid first shift after so much seniority. So we want to be there to help folks find a way for themselves, to boost themselves out of transportation challenges, to give themselves more opportunity and to provide us, exactly.
Get to
Work is an opportunity, especially some of the companies along the map are ready to hire you and keep you working full-time for, the foreseeable future, for as long as you'll be there. So we wanted the commission to know, and we appreciate you guys have asked such great questions. I didn't even have to spit out the rest of my talking points. I glanced here. You've really covered them all. Would love to see if you have any final questions for that.
On the 21st,
Mhm.
I would go to the transit center.
Yes, I'll send you an invite.
Please do.
I'll send you one too.
Please,
And that way,
someone to
can't come, there's no pressure.
feeling better.
Yes, and he is on our stakeholder team. Kind of conscripted him since he's our liaison. And so he already got the announcement about that,
Okay,
but I'll be sure to just copy you all, and you're cordially welcome. If you get an extended agenda and you can't make it, we understand, but we'd love to have you.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I know we really went over our 15 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm gonna close out with a notion that our board has once again approved the Final Friday shuttle this year. And if you would, we'd love for you to either consider a sponsorship or pass it along to a business that you think would value having their name out on our materials, including the platinum sponsor, where you could be on 5 buses all summer long, not just on those Fridays, but all summer long. We'd love to have the county commissioners join the city up there on the bus, if you would.
Hey, that's an idea.
Yes.
I don't have any more questions, but Carl Hunnell might. So Carl, you still with us? And do you have any questions for Gene?
I am still here. I've written about this in the past, and I'm trying to figure out how I can clear up the schedule to take a bus ride.
Awesome. And either one, Carl, I'll send you the, I think that you got that in a press release. So hopefully this wasn't a total surprise to you. And
I did get it as a press release. It's not a total surprise. That note could have been misinterpreted.
No, great, but I will send that out.
Thanks.
Making the assumption he reads the press releases.
Well, I know he does, because I see them up there right away. And Richland Source has been a really wonderful partner. And Carl in particular, some years ago, before we even got this grant, transportation was identified as a community priority. And Richland Source took this on, and Carl has continued to cover this beat, if you will, for those years. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago since we first did that.
Yeah, it probably was. It came right after we did a trash series right before COVID hit, and then everything kind of went away after that.
Right.
But yeah, transportation was a passion project of mine because you're right, Gene. People who can't get to work can't work, and people who can't work can't be productive.
Right. And they find themselves not able to move forward as we would like to. If you think about, the expression of, pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, well, it takes a little bit more than just boots to get to work. So
Or an obstacle that many people have.
yes,
Amazing.
yes. So thank you.
Any other questions, Carl?
He's already writing.
No, sir. No, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and we're available to the media, all media upon request. Come out.
Well, I thought all the work you've put into this, Gene and Scott and Jodica, this is quite an amazing thing you did to pull off a federal program when so few were awarded. So I'm amazed, not astonished, because I know you're hardworking. Gene, we were on city council, and I know how hard you work and how much in depth you take your work. So congratulations on being awarded the grant, and it's amazing that you're able to do this for so many people.
Thank you very much. And we stand here with a team behind us as well. They didn't all come today, but it takes a team. We appreciate your being a part of that team.
I mean, you could put a lot of work into this and not have been awarded the grant.
It's true. Yeah. But we would have had a plan. I mean, the first application.
Wouldn't have gone to waste.
Yes, we still would have had a plan. Phase 1 did bring a plan out, but yes, a plan where we would look for funding for, so.
We receive a lot of feedback, both from riders and the community, on services they'd like to see. But no different than how you receive a lot of things that people, your constituents would like to see. And we have to balance, how do we use our dollars responsibly to impact the most amount of people possible? So to have pilots like this, to see how many people can we impact with it too, it allows us to, think about some of those things more regularly on it. So anytime that we have the chance to kind of meet the demands of some of our folks and it makes sense within the budget, this one obviously makes sense because it's fully funded of it too. But what will allow us to do as a board, and Jean and her team, is we'll get the data to say afterward, all right, we impacted a lot of people, a lot of companies. We need to figure out a way to fund this moving forward. Whereas it's that initial seed funding to try some things out that oftentimes is the barrier for our ability to serve more and more people. So it's a great opportunity.
The learnings are not just going to be academic. They're so practical, getting people to work. And as Carl said, they're productive and they'll be productive citizens because it removes that barrier. So that's fantastic.
Right.
Amazing.
That for us, from a staffing perspective too, like I think, the planners in our office are learning so much about just where where people live, how do they connect to work. So all the data that we are processing at the back end, I think, it's just teaching us to look at data in so many different ways to get the information that we want. So I think it's been a team effort, even from the back end of the office with the transportation and transit, kind of talking to each other, because we're trying to solve some of the same issues.
Absolutely.
It's not lost on us too that success of this might actually be that folks stop riding the bus, right? If we allow them to get their economic footing under themselves because we were able to get them reliable work with reliable income, and then one of the first things they do is they go and find themselves reliable transportation for them and their family. They no longer need our services, but it's what allowed them to do that. And so we're hoping some of the data that we get through the research actually shows some of that as well on it. So, in a perfect world for us, a decline in ridership after a certain point wouldn't be terrible. We'd like to be able to always backfill those as we can do that. But if you see the actual cause of that is I was able to get to work. I was able to find myself reliable transportation for me and my family. That has impacted us greatly on it. And then all of a sudden they just stopped riding the bus for that reason. I mean, that's a win from our world, right? It won't show up in the numbers that way, but from the impact we're making, that's some of the research that we're looking to make sure we get pulled out of that as well.
One more reason and resource to be proud of our community in Richland County.
Truly.
Truly, I think we don't highlight it enough. There are not many communities that do have a bus system. And I think Jean was just mentioning today that Newark is no longer going to have their small transit system. So I think it speaks a lot to our community that.
You help set us apart from other communities.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Your time.
Amazing.
We know how many people come through here and we appreciate your letting us spend so much time today.
I plan to be there on the 21st.
Great, awesome.
Last ride I had was from the Area Agency on Aging when you had an event then. That was fun.
Great, awesome. And we won't have to stop so much. So this will be a little less than an hour because we're not going to be stopping. We're going to be running.
It'll be fun. I just
But-
like not having to drive when I go somewhere.
Oh,
Being a
absolutely.
passenger to me is pretty cool. I don't have this opportunity very often.
So even if you, oh, I know what I was gonna say about that fella on the WEWS is he has a car, but it has trouble and he's at the shop all the time. And so we're his backup for actually getting to work,
Hey, that's smart. That's great.
you know, that's.
Being familiar with the routes. Oh,
Once
that's
you've
great.
CT, even when you get a car, you might need us again and we're here for you.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you for coming.
Okay. Any other business to come before the board at this time?
Not at this time.
Hearing none, we stand adjourned at 11:06.